What if I told you that one of Africa's greatest cities had wide streets, magnificent palaces, and master artists long before many people in Europe had ever heard of it? This is the story of the Kingdom of Benin, one of the most remarkable civilizations in African history. Long before colonial rule reached West Africa, the Kingdom of Benin flourished in what is now southern Nigeria. Around the 13th century, the kingdom grew into a powerful state under the leadership of its kings, known as the Obas. The Oba was more than just a ruler. He was the political leader, the guardian of traditions, and a symbol of the kingdom's unity. As the kingdom expanded, Benin City became its heart. It was surrounded by enormous earthworks and defensive walls that stretched for hundreds of kilometers when connected together. These were among the largest human-made earthworks in the world. Inside the city, wide roads connected neighborhoods filled with skilled craftsmen, merchants, farmers, and royal officials. Benin became famous for its order, organization, and remarkable artistic achievements. Its bronze casters created detailed plaques and sculptures that recorded the kingdom's history, celebrated its rulers, and displayed extraordinary craftsmanship. These artworks would later become known around the world as the Benin Bronzes. Travelers who visited the kingdom described a prosperous city with impressive buildings, busy markets, and a well-organized royal court. But Benin's greatest days were still ahead. Its growing wealth would soon attract traders from across the seas. And that meeting would change the kingdom forever. By the late 1400s, ships from Portugal began arriving on the coast of West Africa. They were searching for new trade routes, valuable goods, and powerful allies. Soon, they heard stories about a wealthy kingdom called Benin. When Portuguese traders finally reached Benin, they were amazed. They found a kingdom that was well organized, peaceful, and governed by clear laws. The streets of Benin City were wide and clean, while the royal palace stretched across a vast area filled with beautiful courtyards and decorated buildings. Trade quickly grew between Benin and Portugal. Benin exported products such as pepper, ivory, coral beads, and finely crafted artworks. In return, European merchants brought goods including metal products, cloth, and other manufactured items. As trade expanded, Benin became even richer and more influential. The kingdom strengthened its economy, supported skilled craftsmen, and increased its influence across the region. Benin's bronze artists became famous for creating extraordinary plaques, sculptures, and ceremonial objects. Every artwork told a story. Stories of kings, great victories, royal ceremonies, and the proud history of the Benin Kingdom. But as European powers became stronger, their interests slowly changed. They no longer wanted only to trade. They wanted control. And that ambition would eventually bring one of Africa's greatest kingdoms into conflict with the British Empire. By the late 1800s, the British Empire was expanding its control across West Africa. Benin remained independent, and its leaders carefully controlled trade with outsiders. British officials wanted greater access to the kingdom's resources and markets, but the Oba insisted that Benin would make its own decisions. In January 1897, a British delegation traveled toward Benin City despite warnings from Benin chiefs that an important religious festival was taking place and that it was not the right time to enter the city. As the delegation continued its journey, fighting broke out. Several members of the British Party were killed. The British government responded by organizing what became known as the Benin Punitive Expedition. Within weeks, a large military force advanced toward Benin City with modern weapons. The defenders fought bravely to protect their kingdom, but they were heavily outgunned. When British troops entered the city, much of the royal palace was burned. Thousands of priceless works of art, including the famous Benin Bronzes, were taken from the kingdom. These masterpieces were carried to museums and private collections across Europe and beyond. The Oba, Oven Ramwan Nogbezi, was captured and later sent into exile. With that, one of Africa's greatest kingdoms lost its independence. But although the kingdom fell, its history could never be erased. When the Kingdom of Benin fell in 1897, its greatest treasures disappeared with it. Thousands of bronze plaques, royal sculptures, ivory carvings, and ceremonial objects were taken from the royal palace. Many of these treasures were later sold to museums and collectors across Europe and North America. For decades, visitors admired the Benin Bronzes without knowing the painful story behind how they left Africa. Yet the bronzes were more than beautiful works of art. They recorded the history of Benin's kings, celebrated important ceremonies, and preserved the identity of an entire kingdom. As the years passed, Nigeria called for these priceless cultural treasures to be returned. Historians, artists, and cultural organizations around the world joined the conversation. In recent years, several museums and institutions have begun returning some Benin bronzes to Nigeria. Although many pieces have come home, thousands are still kept in museums and private collections around the world. The discussion continues today. Who should protect these treasures? And where do they truly belong? The story of the Kingdom of Benin is not only about war and loss. It is also a story of remarkable creativity, resilience, and a civilization that left a lasting mark on world history. Today, the legacy of Benin lives on. Not only in museums, but in the hearts of its people. Because great civilizations may fall, but their history lives forever. If you enjoyed this documentary, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us on the history of Africa for more untold stories from Africa's incredible past.